Why is that? What is happening? Why is my mic off? What is the thing? Oh, hold on. I have to fix my new button because I started a thing and then I fixed the thing. We're fine, right? You can hear me now. You can hear me now. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. That's that. Where is it? This one. Let's open this guy up. What does this do? Why would it give a shit? It shouldn't change a goddamn thing. But it does. It's odd. Maybe this is just a I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna remove this guy. And I'm gonna remove this guy. And it shouldn't do much more than that. I don't even know why I'm on a separate thing right now, but we'll figure it out later. I don't care. It's not quite important. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Yee. Yeah, today it was leg day. So if I fall down, um, if I just kind of like if I get Indiana Jones legs at some point and go blah, 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 and just drop, that's now you know why. That's why. Also, I got a gift. I won't say from who because they didn't say. Oh, stop it. Oh, it's gonna flash 12 for a while. Is that what it's gonna do? Um, let's see. Set the time. Set. Anyways, it's a giant clock, so I know when the fuck my brakes are. For radio, without having to stare at everybody who uses a monitor for a living for whatever reason. The on a Mac, it's in the upper right hand side, on the Windows to get out of a legal dispute over user interfaces with Mac. Decided, we'll just move the menu bar, make it exactly the same fucking thing, but we'll move it to the bottom of the screen. That was it. That should solve it, right? And then at the same time, they use a very Windowsy font, unless you change it, I suppose. I'm sure there's a way to get around it, but it's teensy. Like I know what time it is, but it's like this small. And when I'm doing the radio show and I've got all these like screens going and I'm working with the worst possible thing is like, how close are we to the break? So I just decided to be a complete dick about it. And I asked for a giant wall clock that I could put up there with enormous second hands, like a digital clock that I can see from anywhere in the room. And it's just going to go right up there. So I can just kind of glance at it. And that's that. I'm working on it. I also worked on a little graphic thing that I have to build. I'm excited to debut it this afternoon. I'm very excited because it's part of a recurring annoyance that I have to fucking deal with, in terms of the clips that we've been using lately. And by the way, hi chat room. Welcome to the show. It's Al Sparks Mornings Mega Worldwide. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Lots of stuff going on. We got a flipped witness. We got Rudy Giuliani is turning himself in as we speak, right? It's like noon East Coast. So he's got and does anybody know if he can actually if he can afford his bail? Sorry, yeah, I just came from the gym and I was in a big hurry and it's too hot to wear a thing over it. It may cool off in a little bit, but not right now. So we'll figure this out. But I does anybody because it's all in flux. Here's the problem. Here's the problems with these modern criminals is they're all disorganized. You know what I mean? Also, here's what I also don't understand is, especially when it comes to Eastman, Jenna Ellis, and Giuliani himself. Why the fuck don't they get public defenders and then just advise their public defender based on the law? If they can't that's the easiest way around. If you can't afford it, the court will appoint one for you. If you have multiple court cases, you can make a case fucking anywhere that you need a public defender. The public defender will advise you, and but they'll do what you ask. They have to. And if you're a lawyer, then just be your own lawyer, but operate through your fucking public defender. Isn't that what you do? Especially Giuliani, who has nobody fucking paying his bills in terms of like, you know what I mean? Like that just seems like the simplest fucking thing to me. I don't understand that part. Fulton County has some of the best PDs. Yes, they do. And they get a lot of practice. But even still, the problem might be is that the public defenders there are so used to working with like actual fucking criminals that they might go, you need to plead. If you're fucked, this is plead. I don't know what you're telling me. I'll tell them what you're saying, but what your entire strategy is bullshit. You're going to jail, right? Let's start a go fuck him for his bail, right? Well, that sounds like an OnlyFans thing. I don't know. Isn't OnlyFans basically a go fuck yourself? Pay to be told that by exactly the partner that you can't afford. Okay, so a couple things. We'll just jump straight into this. By the way, the big part, I think, more so than Giuliani turning himself in, because that's paperwork. This is the big one, and it's not that surprising because, quite frankly, this Yusel Taveras guy, who they, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Anyways, this was the guy who was like, nah, I can't fucking, I'm not gonna do that. Are you nuts? No. He wants to what? I don't think I can do that. Even if I could, I don't think it's a good idea. Like, he's that guy. That's who it was. And by the way, Yusel Taveras is the fucking hero of this story. This motherfucker was always going to be a witness. And maybe they indicted him first or sent him a letter that he was a subject of the investigation. He rolled early. But and that's why he wasn't listed as a co-conspirator, by name. When in actuality, he wasn't helping Trump at all. He was literally, he had what we would call, I mean, I don't know what his politics are, so he may have already been there, but he had sort of a Pence moment. He had all right, I'll do a bunch of stupid shit because I work at fucking Mar-a-Lago, but I'm not doing that. For who? That asshole throws everybody under the bus. You out of your fucking mind? So that I think is fucking gorgeous. This guy was always going to be on a witness. A witness in the criminal case against Donald Trump over his alleged mishandling of classified documents retracted prior false testimony after switching lawyers last month and implicated the former president in new information, according to the Justice Department. Now, I find that fascinating, that this dude, I would love to see what his prior false testimony is. And they're going to try and impeach him by saying he lied to the grand jury or he's lying now, which is it. We've all seen those scenes in court movies. The unfortunate part is the obvious retort is, I'm telling the truth now. I was being pressured into lying before, but I'm not going to jail for these idiots. And what you need to do is ask your own clients why they're lying to you. The witness, a Trump employee identified elsewhere as Mar-a-Lago Director of Information Technology, Yusel Taveras, initially testified to grand jury in Washington, D.C. that he was unaware of any effort to erase surveillance video at the Florida property. He was not only aware, he was part of the reason it was stopped. Prosecutors said to court filing on Tuesday that the witness, after getting the new attorney, immediately retracted his prior false testimony and provided the Justice Department with information that helped form the basis of the revised indictment against Trump, his valet Waltine, and a third defendant, Carlos de Oliveira. These are the two dickheads who were running around like the Keystone Creeps at Mar-a-Lago looking for, looking right into the surveillance camera going, I think that's a surveillance cam. I'm pretty sure, that's one of them, right? That's a surveillance, okay. Yeah, that's one of the surveillance cameras. Right there. So if we were at any given time, we're standing right here, this camera can see us. Is that basically how, this one right here? Is that basically how it, cool. So we're sure about this, right? Excellent. Now, can we erase the video that I just accidentally made where I was a complete dickhead and made it very obvious that I was trying to subvert the justice? And nope. Wait, who would we talk to? We'll talk to Yusel. He knows what's going on. Yusel, come here. Hey, let's just say hypothetically, and I do mean hypothetically. Let's just say that you and I we're just buddies, and we're spitballing, and we're like, if somebody wanted to erase the server, which again, I think at this point, the with the Donald Trump's history and his concern about servers, I don't have my soundbite. I'm so disappointed because I had to switch out computers. But but you know, is ironic beyond measure. So let's just say you and I wanted to, if the boss, the big cheese skin, if he wanted us to destroy visual evidence of not only his crimes but ours, how would we go about doing that? Usel? What do you mean you could but you won't? I'm not used to hearing that. He's not going to like, the boss doesn't like it when people say you can but you won't. That's a no-no. So anyways, this is what we would call the deep shit part of the pool. Now, over here in Silly Land, Rudy Giuliani, a man, a drip of oil, and a dream. A man, a verb, and 9/11. A man, big titties, and a gross behavior pattern towards 15-year-old girls. Mugshot tomorrow. Oh, it's going to be so sweet. And you know MAGA's going to be printing t-shirts of it. Trump's going to sue and for his mugshot to be, that only get the real Trump NFT of his mugshot, right? And they'll make money on it, but he'll spend it on his fucking criminal case, so it won't matter. Rudy Giuliani is expected to travel to Georgia. He's there. He's all there. With the former New York Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik, who is an unindicted co-conspirator in the Georgia election subversion case. Kerik has been assisting Giuliani to find a lawyer. It's not good. Kerik, who is not a lawyer, has agreed to assist Giuliani at no cost through the first phase of the Georgia prosecution, including bond negotiations with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office and then surrendering to local authorities. Oh, it's so good. Giuliani faces blah, blah, blah. Former New York mayor is forced to put his Manhattan flat on the market earlier this month to cover his soaring legal bills. How many people there'll be who think there's a Russian that's not on the sanctions list, or a Chinese billionaire will just rush in there to fill in the gap? Also, quick question. Why is that San Diego rich fuck who runs the bank down there that gave Trump loans he didn't deserve and backfilled all that shit, why is he not rushing in to help Giuliani? Why doesn't he just give him a sweetheart refinance? Right? I mean, it's New York fucking real estate. Nowhere but up. Again, get a fucking public defender, argue your case, and bring in your friends to advise the public defender, as part of a whisper campaign. Why can't Rudy defend himself? He invented RICO. He should know. Well, he doesn't seem to know that you can actually, exactly. If Rudy doesn't seem to understand that you can actually indict mob lawyers. He seems to be completely fucking confused. By the way, Philip Bittner will be joining us in the next hour. Updates from Ukraine. Lots of them today. Lots of stuff going on. Holy Testicle Tuesday. It's a lot. And then, before we get into, no, I'm not doing that. Before we get into the kind of annoying, regular, run-of-the-mill shit we have to deal with as we do in this stuff. Oh, it's Rick Steppin' Wednesday. It's beautiful. Can I give you a piece of good news right out of the gate? Can I just share something with you? Because I like this. I think this, and it's kind of sweet. It's a sweet story. It's very Americana. I'm tired of working this job, just paying my bills, getting more orders, making more kills, and I'm smoking weed on my porch like I got free time. Remember, this is the story. This is it. Let me go. Let me shrink this down so you can see it. I just think this is cool. America's loneliest road. The way they put it is just adorable. America's loneliest road is finally EV ready. The U.S. has added more than 1,200 public fast charging stations in the past 12 months. That's 100 a month, kids. That's some pretty good fucking news when it comes to electric cars, right? This is Highway 50, and Highway 50 is one of those ones where, okay, so I took Highway 50 in my drive out to Los Angeles when I originally left. Let's see, yeah, let's see if I can show the route eventually. But I have driven Highway 50 many, many times, and it is it is part of the reason why my buddy Matt and I started insanely singing driving sucks because the radio didn't work, so we were just singing the driving sucks song, and it was because of a road that looked like this. Yeah, just it's one of those, you know what I mean, where you're just like, I'm not even tired, and I'm tired of driving. Right? Torchy, I'm sorry Twitch hates you today. Why? Twitch, be nice. Did Rudy get a mugshot? He will. He is absolutely going to. Okay, so drive southeast from Denver on Route 50, and the roadside soon morphs into oceanic spans of grass with little break in the scenery except cows and the occasional barn and these two lovely folks who, hello, we're Bob and Nadine McClure. We're happy to have y'all down here. We volunteer at the Lamar Visitor Center. And if I know it seems weird, but yes, that is a UFO outside the window behind me. Ever since we put in these electric charging stations, we've had visitors from all over. It's wonderful. So yes, the UFOs have been dropping in here. They quit charging, they're on their way. Oh my God. And sometimes they take off at such a breakneck speed. I swear to God, they make ripples in the space-time continuum. And I have gastrointestinal distress for weeks. Oh, thanks, CSL. Bless you. He opened up a picture for us. This is the road. That's it. That's the lonely road. Just 50. Look at that. 3,000 miles, 12 states crossed. Started building in 1926. Extended to San Francisco in 1930. Kansas sucks. Utah sucks. That was the song. Goes right through Illinois. You just drive down to it and then like, fuck it. But wait, we didn't have Bob and Lamar. And of course, Glingbot, Flort, and Gloon, who are landing there on the regular. I don't know why. I'm fucking around. I don't know why the picture has a UFO in the background. That's what we call an aerial anomaly, not strictly speaking a flying saucer. So, all right. Nearby, the massive blade of a wind turbine blade lays on its side as though blown over in a strong breeze. The latest addition to the collection is for actual use. A bank of 4 high-speed electric vehicle chargers. The units were turned on in late June and complement a row of Tesla superchargers across the parking lot. Those were switched on about a year earlier. Bob and Nadine McClure. Lovely people. Retirees and volunteers at the visitor center say the new hardware has brought a steady stream of travelers that might otherwise skip it for Interstate 70 or 40, which bracket Lamar to the north and south. Now, let me tell you something. All right. So one of my favorite memories when my boy was teensy tiny, and he's little, but he's not teensy tiny anymore, was which Pixar films became his favorite. And I have to say, he liked Nemo and Cars. And I have to say, Nemo was easier to watch because it was, while it's cute and sad and all the sadness happens at the beginning, and then it's just it's a journey picture. But Cars is fucking heartbreaking because it's effectively a tragedy about, this little town that got destroyed and it's never coming back, was the idea. Is this your town? That song. Fucking, I'm a weepy mess. I'm watching cartoons, a cartoon movie so my kid can go to sleep, sitting there with him as he falls asleep, on my side or my leg or my arm or wherever he is or just next to me. And I'm tears rolling down my cheeks. Yes, because Radiator Springs is a lovely little place. And it's a shame that people, to get more fuel efficiency, they got out on the highways. Once the highways were built, people didn't have to drive down the small ones, so they just kept trucking. And it was, it's a sad fucking story, right? Yeah, Erica, yes. Anybody here go through the Cars phase with a youngin, with a littlin? Highway 50 has that coast to coast yard sale, as it should. So much of that in U.S. history, from gold to oil, coal going bust. Absolutely. And this is why I love this. This is why this story made me feel good. This is why this story made, honestly, there are certain nerd stories. Usually it comes with like technology bringing people closer together instead of pushing us further apart. And in this particular instance, this is beautiful because now it doesn't matter. And here's the thing. There's a difference between industrial highways where you just want to gas up and get on your way fast as possible, and the even 30 minutes or 40 minutes that are built around you recharging your car, which means stopping for a meal. And yes, it was Route 66 was what they were talking about. Absolutely. But it's consistent through a lot of areas. But because it takes a little while to charge your car, you pause on your long drive. And that ain't a bad thing. And it allows these communities. Now, at some point, it's going to get faster and the like, but then people will be so fast, or they'll be able to sleep in their car because there'll be, guide rail kind of auto driving car shit that we'll eventually get to on some of the bigger highways. They'll get on there and they'll fall asleep. And when it's time to charge, they'll stop and just hang out because they're already rested and they don't have to do any driving. And they might want to stretch their legs and do something. But at the very least, right now, as the technology stands, the charging stations have created, for the time being, a small growth in the communities around there. And I see it at the like in Baker and a couple of the other places where I stop for gas on the way to and from Los Angeles, for example, to Vegas. And that started expanding out. And this kind of stuff, especially when you're like, let's drive cross country. And now you can. Time for charging brothels. Dude, it's there. I guarantee. That's a good point, though. Why haven't the Nevada, maybe they have, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Somebody check that out. If you go to the Nevada brothels on the regular, let us all know. And good on you. Whatever. But I don't know why why the brothels wouldn't go, we've got electric vehicle chargers right outside. Well, we'll charge you up and wear you out in under 45 minutes, get you on the road again. But at the very least, honest to God, at the very least, this is one of those situations where it reopens the possibility of like a cement river track settlement. Yes. Electric lot lizards. Yeah, man. Can you imagine like charge your car and your sex robot? Oh my God, the future is going to be so weird. Hi, I'm Pris. Would you like regular electricity or premium? So, get Dolly to sing a song. And did anybody actually check to see if that was indeed the best little whorehouse in Texas? Was there a best big whorehouse in Texas? There had to be. Otherwise, why the distinction? Anyways, adjectives always tip me off. Anytime you throw a modifier on the word, I'm like, why'd you use that? Why'd you maybe? Why would you? Why'd you have to modify it in that particular instance? Anyways, I just think this is beautiful. It's a great sign. And fucking 1,200 public fast charging stations in the past 12 months. Filling in, I love this, electron deserts and expanding the reach of the Great American Electric Road Trip. I'm very excited about this. I think that's awesome, and that's a huge step towards people driving cross country. And again, if you're going to make the cross country trip or take the family out, you're going to want to stop at shit anyways and look around, visit places, and that will be a, they'll like, and gas. It's interesting because gasoline, like, there's a reason why gas stations, you might not necessarily want them close to town all the time. If you have a small town, it's better to have the gas station on the outside of town anyways, just because they're toxic, relatively toxic. And especially you want them, down from the aquifer or away from it. If you're getting water from any particular area, you want it on the other side because leakage and seepage is gross. But that's, I just think, like, little towns, you could put Ginger. You could put an electric charging station in the middle of town, and there's no chemical or toxic offshoot. You don't even dirty up I remember in Back to the Future when they showed how, like, when people used to go out and they'd have the guys cleaning the cars and stuff like that. They had it, like, in the middle of town, in that town square, they had a gas station, right? Well, they had guys all run around with a rag all the time, cleaning stuff. Why was that? Well, because those engines were really inefficient and they kicked off a lot of fumes and gross grime. So they were constantly cleaning the place. One of the reasons why you don't have that anymore is because unleaded gasoline and more efficient engines don't choke out. Like, it is rare, thankfully, that you see, like, when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, you'd see, like, a car with, like, black smoke or white smoke coming out of the tailpipe all the time on the regular. But now it's fairly rare. And when you see it, you're like, what the fuck? Right? You're like, that it stands out because it's not that common anymore comparatively. And that's why you don't see a lot of people having to clean the station every fucking night. Anyways, if you're poor, stay home. Well, here's the thing, Dragon Slayer. If I may, electric cars are expensive currently, compared to other cars, but they're coming down, and depending on the range and that kind of stuff. But that's how cars were in the beginning. That's how unleaded cars were at the beginning. That's how cars with power steering were, or anti-lock brakes. Like, that's a greater example. Okay. Cars with anti-lock brakes are more expensive, and were more expensive by a major factor for a long time. And that's a life-saving change in the vehicle. That's not range. That's not available horsepower. That's you living through an accident. And yet they were more expensive for a period of time, by a factor that a lot of people, especially people on the poor side of things, would make a decision on the regular to not go with it, putting their lives in danger because they can't afford the new fancy anti-lock brakes. Now they're pretty much standard on fucking everything, right? So the idea that there's going to be an expense when we're switching over entirely from oil and gas to electric is a minor inconvenience and a part of the technological growth of the time that we live in. Just saying. Right? So, okay. And we almost talked about it. We kind of breezed by it. But Luna 25, the Russian moon mission, ate shit a couple days ago. They launched something at the sky, and it banged into the moon and crashed. Meanwhile, though, if I may, our lovely friends over in India, here we go, managed to land a rover on the moon. India has landed a rover on the moon in a historic milestone. India is now the fourth nation ever to land on the moon. The Chandrayaan-3 is the first mission to explore the surface of the moon's south pole. They did it with a little, they're not sending a person there. It's just a little, it's like our Mars mission. We're at Mars doing this. India's doing it on the moon. And that's how you should do it, I guess. You know, but India successfully landed its first robotic mission on the moon on Wednesday, making it the fourth nation ever. The Chandrayaan-3, which launched from Earth on July 14th, is the first mission ever to touch down on the moon's south pole, which is a major region of interest, beg your pardon, for future human exploration. And by the way, this is where the Russians were aiming for. Yeah. So go India. Well done. Nice job, guys. Very happy for you. Super exciting. Obviously, powered by a very spicy curry. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking around. But it's very powerful. It's just if you're not acclimated to it, it could be just, I mean, you use what's around, right, as your fuel source. So, anyways, the Chandrayaan-3. Sorry, I'm kidding. My kid loves like curry, but my dad and I can't stand it. It's super weird. Now, granted, he likes the curry that's very sweet, and so of course, but still. The landing was widely celebrated against India, where it's been a source of both pride and anxiety in recent weeks. India's last attempt to land on the lunar surface, Chandrayaan-2, ended in disappointment when the spacecraft crashed into the moon on September 6th, 2019. So this one landed successfully. And Russia, pick yourself up, dust yourself off. Maybe in a couple of years, you can achieve the quality of space travel that India has. Just saying. The Russian, sorry, somebody's popping into the chat room with a piece of information. The Russian space agency was gutted when Putin appointed a Russian oligarch that took $750 million. That's fascinating, Peter, and I'm going to dive into that because I'm interested in that kind of thing. But I would like to say for the record, if I may, that the fact that you could gut their space agency by removing $750 million does not... you barely hear the sound effects. Yeah, I know it's not coming through the thing like it's supposed to. I don't know why. It's very strange. I did something weird. I'll fix it later. So the mission's lander, called Vikram, is carrying a 60-pound rover called Pragyan, which is designed to be deployed to the lunar surface of the map. If all goes to plan, Pragyan will trundle. I love that. Will trundle. It's going to trundle. Hold on. Let me show you this. This is lovely. It will trundle. It's going to trundle. It was a drive-by trundling. It's going to trundle. Which isn't an Indian word, but sounds like one. Trundle. Pragyan will trundle across more than 1,000 feet of the moon's surface, taking measurements for about 2 weeks. And while it's up there, it's going to find Donald Trump's healthcare plan, because that's how long it takes. Okay. The mission will then cease as Vikram and Pragyan are not equipped to survive the lunar night. Oh. Huh. What is it going to freeze? It'll freeze up. So it'll become space junk within a couple hours. You get full sun in space? I think so. It's not misogynistic. What isn't? I'm sorry. I can reword it so that it is if need be. Okay. And then what else? Oh yeah. So hell, watch out on the accent. Why? That is an Indian accent. If I can do an Australian accent, I'm not mocking it. I'm doing a pretty good one. And I'm pointing out the fact that that word sounds to my silly comedy ears like an Indian word because of that. No. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna tiptoe around areas where yeah. No, we're not enemies amongst each other to that level where people can't tell the difference. That all copy is mocking now. No, not gonna fucking happen. Sorry. So yeah, that's above the belt. Leave the host alone. Thanks, Mark. I don't think that's ever going to happen, brother. Where it's just it's part and parcel of the job. Um, by the way, I think that is the difference between doing an accent, and it's an important distinction. Doing an accent as representative of how someone might talk and how they might say something in reference to it, and you are indeed mocking them for how they talk, which I think is the distinction, is it not? Yeah. How dare you, house bars? Segregation is not prejudice, right? At least you aren't doing brown, at the very least. Is that the standard now too? Um, and again, is there a difference between the like minstrel shows of old where black people weren't allowed to perform, so white people put on blackface and perform for them, which is horrifying and terrible, and I can't look at it without wincing. And Billy Crystal doing a perfect impersonation of Sammy Davis Jr. Right? I don't know how that word is being used, Care Bear. Yeah, what color face would be unoffensive? Well, I mean, I honestly, when they did that sketch on Saturday Night Live where Eddie Murphy wore whiteface, remember that? Where he dressed up as a white guy, and everywhere he went, they just gave him stuff for free, which is, I mean, it's a great fucking sketch. It's so fucking funny. But if you took it seriously and if you read it, if you watched it sort of in the context of how the racial sensitivity that people have now, which I would say is its own form of insensitivity, um, because people get jokes backwards, is the idea that you know white people have their own kind of like racist economy behind the scenes where they just do each other a solid all the time, which is based on this nightmare fantasy concept of how allegedly Eddie Murphy believed things were at the time. Um, like that's arguably the SNL writers and Eddie making fun of Eddie's, and maybe not even him, maybe even Dick Gregory's opinion of how white people are. Right? The rest when minorities aren't around, right? That's the gag. That's what the premise of that sketch is. And it's fucking hilarious, but it's not rooted in reality. And so because it's got a level of absurd to it, I don't know why anyone would get offended either direction. You know what I mean? Can you imagine a white person going, "That's terrible. I have to go apologize to black people because they might think that's true." Like, fuck out of here. Like, where can we act like? Can we be grown-ups? Can we recognize all the time we're in a gray area and only go to fucking Greg Kelly? He would absolutely do that. He would go this is how they think white people are, and they want to teach this in schools, and they probably want to air this sketch in schools to make white kids feel bad. You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking stupid. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's lovely. It's very, very funny. Yeah. Greg Kelly's a fucking mess. But all right, now where were we? Oh yes, I have to. Why do I have to open this other fucking scrabber? By the way, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. We got another 13 minutes or whatever till Phil shows up, and I've got to use this tab to show the thing with the thing in the thing, because I have to say I have a hard time deciding, and you guys like. This is probably my favorite. He apparently hates this other picture of himself really bad, but I have to say, like, this is probably my favorite Trump picture because it looks like Harpo. It looks like he's doing a Harpo Marx. You know what I mean? Yeah, all right, I gotta save that for later. Just gonna save that for later, just cause. But there's a lot. We got a lot of catching up to do about where Trump is. Meanwhile, hold on one second. Let me go back to here, and let's see, and there we go. And then go to there, and then here, and then see the. Oh, that's a big one. Okay, do I want to try? I guess the top of this. Let's go back to him. Go back to no wait, back here. Go to here, and there you go. Okay. Oh look, it's so sweet. Trump knows that I'm gonna fuck with his interview with Tucker Carlson. Look at that. He's aware. Oh, I didn't even know he watched the show. That's so nice. My interview with Tucker Carlson, all caps, will be aired all caps tonight at 9 p.m. all caps. Sparks will fly. Enjoy. See, that's that old trick where they put that on microwavable food to get out of if you didn't like it and you want your money back. It says heat, serve, and enjoy, and then they go if you're not completely satisfied. Return it for a full refund. And you go, I was not completely satisfied. And you go, did you follow the instructions? And you go, yes, I put it in the thing. And I pushed the thing. And I made it 1 minute and 20 seconds because that's what it said. Some microwaves power may vary. And I don't understand that because it seems like science. But and then I pushed that and I started and I stood there. And then I realized I was standing too close to the microwave. So I took a step back. And then I realized that was dumb. So I stepped back forward. And then it was done. And I ate it. And it wasn't good. You didn't follow all the instructions. What are you talking about? It says heat, serve, and enjoy. What do you mean? Enjoy is part of the instructions. Motherfucker. That's how they get you. So enjoy for the first time in 3. Okay, what's right? In 3 years. In 3 years, brave American patriots will be able, in court, to show how the presidential election of 2020 was rigged and stolen. Fucking hell, he's just locked into this whole stolen thing, right? This has got, the fucking QAnons must be jumping through their shirts about this. Rigged and stolen. For those rhinos, whoops, back the fuck up. For those rhinos, radical left Democrats, communists, Marxists, fascists, and others, nudists, philanthropists, material monarch loyalists, spiritualists, mentalists, grocery lists. Sorry. All the goodists who say, don't look back, look forward. You mean like Boston? Don't look back. Right? Okay. They either do not want to reveal the answers because they, quote, got away with murder. Oh, okay, that's where Eric got that from. Like, quote, in quotes, got away with murder. Or are fools and cowards because we now know the answers to all of the fraud, irregularities, and cheating. And we cannot let it happen again. Oh dear. Oh God. Oh no. Nobody has ever fought for election integrity like Donald Trump for doing so. I'll probably be arrested tomorrow afternoon. Georgia, God bless the United States of America. I'm proud to be, and I'm proud to be fucking arrested, where at least I know I'm booked. Pickens. Welcome down to historic Pickens. Hello. The fuck? Do they? This seems, is that oddly quiet or is it just me? Hold on. Scroll this shit up. What the heck is going on?
Parents who want...
Oh God, there we go. Fixed it.
...to take back control of their children's education.
Without actually teaching them themselves.
Veterans tired of being kicked to the curb. They
literally the Obama administration and the Biden administration have done more towards veterans homelessness than the last 3 Republican presidents combined.
Believe in protecting the sanctity of life, securing our borders,
By guaranteeing capital punishment for minors.
standing for the flag, kneeling for God above, and an honest day's pay for an honest day's work. Hillary made fun
Whether you make that money on your knees or not.
of them.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
Biden called them a
Hey, asshole. You just played the clip that proves she wasn't talking about all Trump supporters. Fuck is the matter with you? If you're making a campaign ad, just say, basket of deplorables, as Hillary Clinton called you. Basket of deplorables. Or just fucking cut off basket. Just go, Hillary Clinton called you deplorables. And just edit it like that. It's not like you're showing the fucking clip, stupid.
threat.
The MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
And DeSantis degradingly called them listless vessels.
Oh, listless vessels. Oh, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt because they have to look up the word listless. And also why they would be referred to as vessels in any way. Yeah. Just lovingly.
No, they aren't, Ron. They're great Americans who know there's one person
You know they aren't, Ron. You fucking asshole.
who will always have their backs.
I'm done.
Yeah, so Trump will always have your back because it's the best place to pick your pocket. Trump will always be right behind you, America. You guys go ahead. He's Venkman as the lightning strikes at the stairs. Where these stairs go? They go up. Okay, you guys go ahead. Go ahead. Just go on up there. Yeah, go ahead. All right, so 1 second. I got to get ready for our dear friend Philip Bittner to join us from Kiev. Let's see if I can bring him in here. He's going to be in here soon. Let's see. I got to turn on my virtual camera so that people can see the thing. And then I've got to enable this thingy thing. Did that. Excellent. Ahem. Excellent. Okay. And then run this up here. See who salutes. Put it over here where I can see it. And then when he comes in, I'll be able to see him. Excellent. And by the way, thanks for that map, CSL. The staff chat is really... Oh my God, Therese Rayburn. I didn't even see that. Thank you so much. Therese, bless you. I was too busy yammering. Thank you for that super chat. And thank you, Andrea, for putting it in our staff chat over there. You guys are awesome. On our Discord, which is available to our wonderful Patreon folks. And let's see. And kind of everybody else. There's another one for everybody, but there's a couple of versions. That's whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not important. Okay. Can I? Let's see if I don't even know if I'll be able to. Yeah, I'll show you this. Okay, real quick. We got a couple minutes. Yeah, I got 4 minutes. Okay, excellent. I can do this. All right. See if I can find this dude's copy of the video because okay, here we go. I'll pause this dude. Hello. There we go. And there was a... Yeah, here it is. Okay, so in China, in the the port outside of Beijing, there was there's an area where they call it the port of Beijing. Well, I'll show you. Hold on 1 second. There was a huge fire. Wait, no, yeah. There it is. Yeah. That's not good. When yeah, see that building? That's in any city in America, this would be a story for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it just frankly isn't. Look at these folks over here. And then there's other footage of people inside that building fucking filming the fire. And to those folks, I would lovingly say, Chkola. Shanita. Get the fuck out. Piss off. That's some scary shit if you're in the building next door and the wind's blowing your way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then this is just today. This is this morning. This looks like this is so fucked up. It looks like Moscow. Look at this. Look at that. That's a dude. Why are you get the shit out of there? Holy hell. Like this is like terrifying. Dude, bug out. This is in Beijing. This is just outside of Beijing. In one of their industrial areas. By the way, one of the other things, can I point out something here? Can I just tell you that in an office building in a city of allegedly 30 million people, 35 million people, which again is the bigger than the entire population of Australia. Would you ever see a room this empty anywhere? I rest my case. All right, here we go. This dude's like, everybody's running over to film this because they're in the building next door. Xi Jinping, by the way, is not there. He's in South Africa right now. That is this dude. Hi. Commenting on it. And then this is the other thing. Here we go. This is a shot inside. He just borrowed the Netison stuff, and I can't find the telegram station because it's not listed. This is Chongqing Airport. This is the international side of Chongqing Airport. I've been in this fucking place. I've been there when there were reasonable sized crowds. And there isn't like COVID lockdown right now. Nothing. There is no one. It's like a fucking zombie movie. It's like, Arshabatian, 28 days later. Shangzi. Arshabatian Shangzi. Yeah. Then 28 days later, there you go. But this reminded me of this thing. This is the Tianjin explosion a few years ago. I don't know if you remember this business. Whoa. So these people are filming this. This is in Tianjin. I've been to Tianjin as well. So think of Tianjin. Good Lord. My goodness, that's loud. And I don't know why it's the alert box it's hidden. Why do I see it everywhere? It's so weird. Okay, hold on. I gotta fix something. Otherwise, it's gonna drive us all crazy. Alert box. Maybe it's just coming from another page somewhere hidden. I gotta figure that out. Anyways, so check this out. These folks are just filming this because there's a big explosion across town. This is 8 years ago.
I think that might be a gas station or something. Whoa! Oh! What the?
Now look at that. Now at that point, you'd be like, I'm done. That's too big. Fuck that. Look at it. Look at it. It's raining fire around.
No, baby. Oh, no.
Wait. No, baby. Look how big that's a crane right there. Now watch this.
Oh my God. Oh dear. Are you filming? Yes, I'm filming. Whoa. Whoa. I think we are dead.
Yeah. An even bigger explosion. Yeah, the girl keeps asking, are you filming? And are we dangerous? She keeps saying, which is her, and they speak really good English. So I think that's just brain fart in a weird situation. But yeah, very much like the port in Beirut. But just fuck, like that, that's imagine something like that happening in Boston. I mean, look at the freak out around East Palestine. and understand that after that happened, they didn't even talk about it anymore. Meanwhile, there's two rumors going around in China that I find particularly fascinating. Oh, and Philip Ittner is joining us, so let me grab his link and bring him in on this because there's so much to this today that we have a lot to talk about in terms of our dear friends over there in Ukraine. Pop this in there. Oh, thank you. Get back in here. There we go. And it should pop up in a second. And that we got a lot to talk about. But yes, the Three Gorges Dam is sinking because it's built on a fault line. Because nobody does any geological tests. China is an anti-geologist thing. Anyways, I will go down that rabbit hole forever. But we have our dear friend Philip Ittner live from Kiev with us today right now. And I think he can hear me and you can hear us. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I
Excellent.
can hear you. Yep.
You sound fantastic.
Sure.
Good to see you. Lots of stuff to talk about today in terms of Ukraine.
Sure.
Bunch of different fronts. And it seems like, the Trump news over here is going to basically hide that news for a couple of days. And maybe that works to Ukraine's advantage because by the time people have gotten past this and they decide to check back in, a lot of ground will have changed. Because that seems the way it's going.
We can hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they're making advances. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Right. So a couple of things. An S-400 system has been destroyed in Crimea, which was a huge explosion. There was obviously there's renewed fighting around Bakhmut, but the big push is south towards Melitopol, and that Robotyne has been liberated from the videos that I've seen completely. They're showing, this is the first time we've seen in a while, the locals hugging the soldiers who've arrived there.
The Ukrainian soldiers who are liberating their town and saying, we've been living under occupation. So, yeah. Good stuff.
Across the board. So, thoughts, what are you hearing on the ground there? What's the,
Well, I mean, it's an ongoing thing of incremental gains on the other side of the river and trying to push towards Melitopol, and we'll see. The capital is getting ready for Independence Day celebrations, which happens tomorrow. Thursday, the 24th, is their Independence Day. I hope I'm wrong, but that's a potential day when Russia might try to inflict some sort of heavy attack symbolically, because they love to do that kind of stuff. Although we thought that was going to happen last year and they didn't do it. So we'll see. But they've got they've put out a whole bunch of Russian tanks, burnt out tanks on the main drag in town, and they've changed a huge statue that overlooks the city that used to have the hammer and sickle on it. Now it's got the Ukrainian trident. People are really getting ready for what could be a big Independence Day holiday tomorrow. So we'll see.
And then
as far as like what's happening on the front line is concerned, again, it's incremental movement. They're clearly moving towards Melitopol. And they are grabbing territory. Now, if they can get a town called Tokmuk, which is the next big town after Robotyne, then it'll be a big way in severing the land bridge. And then Russia is going to probably lose its mind, and we'll have to see what their response is. But if the land bridge can be broken, it'll be the first major, I would say. There have been others, but this would be a huge blow to, because Russia and Russians will have to recognize that the possibility that they could lose Crimea, which would be devastating to them, is a real possibility. I think they've been living under the delusion that they can't possibly lose Crimea.
Right.
But if the land bridge is severed, that'll go a long way towards your average, Muscovite or person in St. Petersburg recognizing that, oh my God, we might lose this war, and lose Crimea, which would be devastating for them. So we're on the cusp of things.
Right. There's been a very strange, I don't even know how to start the conversation on this, because it's one of those things where it's relatively unverifiable craziness, as we often deal with. So I don't know if people know this, but there's rumors right now of two things in China. One is that the Three Gorges Dam has burst or is in the process of bursting. The other one is that a nuclear-powered Chinese submarine has crashed in the Taiwan Strait and sank by mistake of the crew or whatever, is the idea, that it wasn't shot at or anything like that. Although there's an argument that, last year a U.S. nuclear-powered submarine was damaged when it banged into the ground. It was an uncharted part of the Taiwan Strait, and they allegedly they rammed into a piece of rock that somebody hadn't charted before, and they blamed the crew, and there was a whole whatever. But we haven't heard anything about it since. And at that same time, a Chinese sub may have disappeared at the same time. So the idea is that literally the U.S. sank it by colliding with it on purpose, that kind of shit. And that kind of stuff is elevating. A lot of that shuffle.
Yeah, I mean, there's a weird thing that submarines do. And historically, this has been with the Soviet Union and then subsequently the Russians. And it mostly was games up in the Baltic and the Arctic Sea, and the North Atlantic, the North Sea, where Soviet or later Russian subs and American subs in particular do a I don't want to say it's a game, because it's obviously not a game, because people lose their lives, but they have a practice of tempting one another, of playing these very, very intense games of almost like playing chicken with one another,
right?
Where they because you don't have line of sight if you're in a submarine, obviously, so you're going by sonar.
By the way, yes, Andre, I just saw that. I was about to feed him that. I'm getting that. That was what I was leading to. But yeah, continue.
So I'm wondering if that's what happened in Taiwan, because it's something that submariners do. It's part of patrolling the seas.
And China had another one that that went down, that they lost 70 soldiers or 70 submariners in that clash as well in the Taiwan Strait, and it seems like they're continuing to do this shit. This seems an ongoing thing. Now, we can't confirm this. It's one of those kind of stories.
The Kursk town, but anyhow,
go
ahead.
But it reminds me of this little story, which is just breaking, and I don't know if you know anything about this, but a plane was shot down by the Russians, and the Russian air defense shot down a private plane in the Tver region. They shot down a business jet. 7 people died in it.
Belonging to Prigozhin.
Belonged to him. Listed on the passenger list was Yevgeny Prigozhin. According to the Federal Air Transport Agency, an investigation has been launched into the Embraer crash in the Tver region. Among the passengers is the name and surname of Yevgeny Prigozhin. Now, I thought he was in Africa.
He claimed to have been in Africa.
Right.
He made a video claiming that he was in Africa.
Right.
Which is not, I mean, it's not impossible.
Right.
But,
that's a big fucking piece of news.
A plane shot down with Prigozhin on it in Tver. I mean, Tver, you wouldn't be flying back from Africa and fly over Tver.
No.
I mean, I don't know. Look, I don't like things like this because
right. You can't tell.
It's way too early. Way too early.
Here's what
right. And again,
this is just a reaction that's happening right now. But I will say this: the fact that they shot down a business jet that is theirs. It's a Wagner Group business jet, regardless of whether the part where he's on it. Who can fucking tell? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like nobody can say. But it for sure.
Also just shooting a private plane out of the sky.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's weird too. That's.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing is suspect. I want to know more.
Oh, it's very hinky. It's very hinky.
Yeah, it's
but,
very hinky. Very
yeah. But at the same time, par for the fucking course in Russia. That's the problem with
Nowadays
it is that
in Russia,
it's so obviously
people are dying
believable.
from very, people are dying from very suspicious,
Mm-hmm.
in very suspicious circumstances. Again, my thing with Prigozhin is that I don't think he's alive by way of a fluke or by way of like him having painted Putin into a corner or some. I think Prigozhin is alive because Putin wants him alive.
Yeah.
Now maybe that has changed. Exactly. Maybe that moment has come, and he's crossed over into the no longer useful column of Putin's spreadsheet. But I why? Because he went to Africa, presumably he engaged in some sort of like deal where he set things off to hand over, and then he's flying back and he gets knocked out of the sky and dies.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know, maybe. But if you're Prigozhin, do you put yourself in that kind of circumstance? I mean, maybe he's got family. I mean, there's always the rumors of that Putin's got his family stored up somewhere, and maybe he's forced to do. Look, again, I'm already stepping foot into uncomfortable territory because it's speculation. Look, if Prigozhin was on that plane and he's dead, then we'll reassess what is going on internally within Russia. But I can't believe that Prigozhin survived this long. Makes some trip to Africa and then only to return and get killed or assassinated.
If he indeed did even go to Africa or any of that. And again, everybody's just waiting to see what. Yeah, it's silly, but this is literally just breaking today. And again, even weirder, beyond all of it, and the thing that makes it the most believable for me, and again, it's almost immaterial if he's in that or if they get him later or some. But the idea that they would shoot down a Wagner private plane, period, is I don't care who's on it.
Well, do we actually see at any point something striking the plane, or did we just have it falling from the sky?
No, it was struck. We have
visuals of it.
That's a good question. I have to scroll through here without scrolling into the wrong areas. I don't know that it's on here. I'll see if I can find it. But I mean, this is it.
I mean, if somebody is filming a plane falling out of the sky at this point, that's all.
Here's the other thing is how it's falling out of the sky.
It does look like it's already on fire. So, but
there's no glide path. No,
there's no glide path. But equally also, engines do explode.
Right. Sure.
I don't know. I don't know. We're way into
we'll find out. But this, you're right. We don't have to even speculate.
It's a Prigozhin plane.
It's downed,
shot out of the sky.
Yeah.
If it was brought down out of the sky and wasn't pilot error, or I mean, this whole thing is hinging on what looks to be a single
allegedly, according to Russian media, Utkin was on board. Prigozhin's right hand Dmitry Utkin was also on the crash plane. Yeah.
Possible. Yeah, it's entirely possible.
That's him. This is the guy with the Nazi tattoos. He's dead now. So again, it's kind of one of those situations where you're watching.
He is suspected dead.
Yes, right.
We don't know.
Again, according to Russian media, they might be hiding them. They might have, but he might even be using this as a way. Bullshit, right?
This could be a really nice, easy way for them to, go off and look. I don't
retire, grow a mustache, and hide someplace. Right.
I want to know more. It's just Prigozhin. The whole Wagner thing, to me, is it's a little. It's easily manipulated into conspiracy theories and here's what's really going on beneath the surface. Look, he's a powerful guy. He's close to Prigozhin is close to Putin.
Yeah.
He is very powerful within. Well, I say very powerful. He
Rosaviatsia.
within
Rosaviatsia is source says that Prigozhin
wire service, I believe.
Yeah, Prigozhin was among the passengers of the crashed plane. That's what they're saying. According to Cheka OGPU, the plane used by Prigozhin could have been shot down by a C-300 PS. It's just like that picture of it falling out of the sky is just, and that's where everybody is gone right now. This is breaking news, as it were, and we'll see how. Like I said, we don't know. We'll wait for confirmation on that other stuff. But this is
Wagner,
this is
the Beebs got. Well, no, but that's just the headline. Let me see what the Beeb's saying. Yeah, they're also being very cautious.
Yeah, according to Cheka OGPU, the plane used by Prigozhin could have been shot down by a C-300.
Oh, it's just a headline. Oh, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on,
and video from the crash site. And then it says, source report that during the flight of Prigozhin's plane, 2 explosions sounded in the sky. There were 2 explosions in the sky. The wing and stabilizer fell at the Kuzhinkino station, and the fuselage and wing fell on the village of Kuzhinkino, 2 kilometers from the former farm. That's it. That's the thing, just plummeting. Yeah. Oh, and presumably it's a June 23. Presumably Prigozhin's plane was shot down by 2 S-300 missiles. S-300 PS stands nearby. June 23rd rebellion, August 24, and the Kremlin loves numbers, is what somebody's saying in this one. And again, we'll take this with a grain of salt. But that is happening as we're talking. And again, none of this will, by the way. Let's see. The Kiev Post is now reporting it. Aircraft belonging to Wagner PMC. Prigozhin crashed in Russia. All passengers on the aircraft were killed. Wagner founder Prigozhin allegedly was among the passengers on the plane. That's what Kiev Post is saying right now. So it's
well, again,
real.
If he is truly dead, if he was he's he's a tricky guy.
Right.
But if he is indeed dead, let's
holy
presume,
shit. Yeah.
Right. Let's say maybe this is true.
Sure.
Basically, it means that he fulfilled some sort of duty for Vladimir Putin, and he outlived his usefulness. And that because he look, the Prigozhin mutiny, such as it was what, 2.5 months ago now, 3 months ago, somewhere between 2 and 3 months ago. Which means that he fulfilled some purpose before he was killed in this, which again means that at some point he did something that Putin wanted in the interim period between the so-called mutiny and this assassination, if indeed this is what it was.
Right.
So what was it that he did? What did he do for Putin? Why was he allowed? Why wait 2.5 months to kill Prigozhin?
Right.
What did he do in the interim period?
The allegedly. Maybe it was just to buy him off, get him over, get him out of the way, soften the blow, set up that bullshit Wagner camps in Belarus, dick around with Poland, start some trouble, and then you pull the rug out from under him. This is from Zrada. This is one of the pro-Russian groups. Insane news coming in right now, but no one knows for sure. Business jet crash. This is them reporting on it as it goes along. Yevgeny Prigozhin died. They're listing. Reportedly, the jet was down by Pantsir air defense system. There it is, falling out of the sky. Then they write that Dmitry Utkin, right-hand man of Prigozhin, was also on board. Personal acquaintances confirmed the death of Utkin. Wagner's over. RIP PMC Wagner. They're saying that's the end of it as we know it.
The end of Wagner.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Maybe he was convinced to go to Africa, tie up some ties, pass the baton on to somebody else, and again was no longer useful to Putin, and that's why he was killed now. I don't know. Yeah, it still does not change, the fact that the ruling classes in Russia are in chaos. They're
Sky News is listing it as well.
Yeah, Sky's. Well, what exactly is Sky reporting?
Sky News has said Wagner leader listed as passenger on fatal plane crash. Exactly what I just said. Because that's according to their site. So he's listed on there. That doesn't mean he's there. I think they're dubious as well, as they should. Yeah, President Xi is in South Africa right now. Maybe they're meeting up. Yeah.
Well, that whole BRICS thing is ridiculous. But
yes.
Yeah, 10 people are reported killed. This is what Sky's got.
Yeah, the number's gone up. Yeah, 3 crew, 7 Wagner.
3 crew.
Yeah.
Moscow to Petersburg, they were flying there. Who is believed to have been on board the flight.
Right. Which is, again, I mean, if you wanted to bug out and you had the money he had, and you've got, we saw you could
fake your death if you wanted to.
Yes, I mean, he's probably, right now he might be having a margarita on Epstein's Island, because the whole thing about magic tricks, man, is that you left the box a long time ago. That's the point. Like, the minute the cover goes on, you're gone. So you can dick around all you want, waiting.
Well, and again, if he truly was, if that video that he posted, his reemergence video, really was in Africa, then again, maybe he went down there, he did something that Putin wanted him to do when it came to all the lucrative businesses that Wagner had going on in Africa, and then again, he's outlived his usefulness. You got to understand the way Putin thinks, though. Putin thinks in the way of, you are useful to me, or aside from that, you're just detritus. You're either useful or you're not. And if you're not useful, then you survive at my discretion.
Well, it's like they gave him 30 days to get his affairs in order,
or something like that.
Give him a month, because it's 23rd to the 23rd. So. Was
the Prigozhin mutiny the 23rd of July?
Yes.
It was only a month ago?
June. It was June. I want to say June 23rd. June. It's 2 months.
Don't do that to me. Holy crap.
Right. No, it's all gone by so fast. No, June.
Oh my
sorry.
God, it was hit.
Did I say July?
Month?
Yeah. So they gave him 60 days.
Out? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
the whole thing with Prigozhin and Wagner is so surrounded in bizarre shit. We'll see. Well, look, I mean, everybody does. It does look like everybody's going crazy for it right now.
Right.
Lots of people are picking it up.
It's a video from Coco's destruction for okay, whatever. This is so weird. I'm finding it
ABC's
in the other.
It crashed.
Yeah.
I think it's crashed.
Cool. Police officer. Let's see.
Who knows?
Yep.
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it's
it's more chaos in Russia. Russia is the destabilization. I mean, this is even another thing in that this was not supposed to be happening in Putin's Russia. Planes falling out of the sky is not what Putin promised his people.
Had in mind, right?
So
curious if that, that hasn't hit the other Prigozhin. Yeah, here it is. So Rosmi is saying this as well. And hold on, there's a fascinating story that attaches to it, just kind of, I think, in alphabetical order. But I'll show you in a second. This is the story. According to preliminary, here. I mean, it's the same thing you and I are talking about, because we were here when it actually occurred. Right here, Prigozhin's plane crash in Russia. Rosmi photo video. According to that's it. There we go. According to preliminary data, everybody's dead. That's all they could say.
I would find a crash very convenient.
Oh yeah, as a way to disappear.
Yeah.
There's another story.
Get rid of them.
This is a fascinating story from this is Emmanuel Macron talking about the grain deal. Interestingly enough, and where he is on this, because there's always been this back and forth about him being the stick, the carrot, and we're the stick, and and same thing with China, that he was trying to be a deal maker, effectively, like a glad hander who could bring the world together. And if he did it, it's worth a swing, because if it doesn't happen, no harm, no foul. You were at least trying, and if it does happen, you're the fucking man, right? You're the new version of Churchill or something. But following the collapse of the Black Sea grain deal, Russia has been attacking the region's core grain export infrastructure, putting global food security. But when they talked to French President Emmanuel Macron, said that there is no doubt that the Russian Federation never sought to provide a solution to the issue, one of the direct consequences of this war. French President Emmanuel Macron said this at his third international summit of the Crimea platform, speaking via video conference. The consequences of Russian aggression in Ukraine is also directly felt by most vulnerable populations in Ukraine, Europe, and around the world. Since the collapse of the Black Sea grain deal in July, Russia's been striking essential infrastructures. He underlined that after the illegal occupation of Crimea and Sevastopol, Russia continued its strategy of violence, and for 9 years, the humanitarian human rights situation of the Crimean Peninsula has been constantly deteriorating. That's a turn in phrase from him. That's that's an awakening. Which has been condemned several times at the UN General Assembly, but of course, Russia still gets to run the fucking thing, the UN Security Council, every so often, which is super fucking weird. But I found that interesting that he's gotten to the point where okay, so this was always bullshit. We kind of knew, but we had to at least, make an attempt at, I don't know, peace talks or working it out. Just so we can say we tried, mostly to our populations, because their population doesn't give a fuck.
Well, their population believes whatever they
right.
They get spoon fed because they're not, unless they have a VPN, which the young people do. The younger generation are fine, but the vast majority of the population still gets their information from television, and television is strictly controlled, so they believe what they're told. As far as the Black Sea, the grain agreement, they're going to jump up and down and scream about it, and insist on there being a blockade and no shipments go out. But not much they can really do about it, actually.
Nope.
Their subs can do stuff. They can do stuff on the international stage as far as information warfare, but they can't send any of their surface fleet over where the grain shipments are coming from, because then they'll be subject to attack by Ukrainian missiles, and they'll get sunk. It's interesting Macron said that, but still doesn't change facts on the ground, which is that, or at sea rather, that there's not much Russia can do.
Since we've been on talking about this, BBC, Wagner boss Yevgeny Prigozhin on board crash Russian plane. Financial Times, Yevgeny Prigozhin was passenger on crash plane. Russian officials say Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin feared dead. Yeah, exactly. Feared dead in plane crash. Wagner boss Prigozhin, who rebelled against Putin, killed in plane crash. Report. It's 10 dead is Prigozhin.
He outlived his usefulness.
Yep.
That's the only. I mean, that's
only explanation.
The fact that he survived for 2 months, means that there was a reason why Putin allowed him to live for the last 2 months. And if he was shot down, if his plane was shot down out of the sky, it means for some reason he outlived his usefulness.
Yeah. I agree.
Putin could have killed him at any moment,
time, right?
Any second.
Yeah.
Day or
could he? Maybe the issue is that he's got a pretty strong substructure around him. Yeah, I mean, without nuking some small section of the country.
If he was in Russia, if he was physically in Russia or in Belarus, there is no way that Putin would be obstructed from killing him. Certainly not for 60 days.
Right.
So my point being,
might take him a week. Right.
Prigozhin had some form. There was something Putin wanted. If indeed this is true, there was something that Putin wanted from Prigozhin for the last 60 days. Somewhere along the line, Putin got what he wanted, or Putin was convinced that Prigozhin no longer was useful to him, and so he was taken off the chessboard.
Well, I mean, could it be as simple as the bullshit? Could it be as simple as the bullshit between Poland and Belarus and Russia, that the idea that they were going to, they were toying with this idea of fuck Article 5, let's just do it. Maybe they go into it. Maybe they do it during the presidential election next year. And so they're gearing up for that part. So they put the Wagner guys in there and they just start testing it. So they can basically, here's the thing. The damage that was done to Obama about like the red lines around Syria and both the experience post, 2014 in Ukraine was ultimately, to give Republicans the mantle of, of toughness and national security back. Under Donald Trump, that's really fucking hard to do because he was always kissing Putin's ass. And even Roger Stone was, let's see. Oh, Twitch is down on desktop. Boo. It'll be back up. But the idea being is that maybe they try to salami slice a piece of Poland and then see if, just call NATO's bluff, essentially. In the presidential election, so that they can hang that around Biden's neck. Since you're fucked anyways, again, you're in that, if you're going through hell, keep going.
Putin is not one to... he doesn't do things of this nature rashly. Now, there are also his, sycophant, who will rid me of this troublesome priest kind of thing. Somebody might have taken it upon themselves to have done this.
Yeah.
But Putin doesn't historically. Now, look, Putin has been under a lot of strain in the last few years.
God knows what COVID brain did to him.
Exactly. And we're in uncharted territory, so it's entirely possible that he suddenly woke up today and said, "Today's the day. I'm tired and get rid of him," or something like the Poland potential threat. And he said, "No, I'm not going to play that game." And again, he just grew weary, or recognized that Prigozhin was getting to be more trouble than he was worth. But again, it just. He's not the kind of guy that just rashly does stuff like this. He's far more calculating.
He was,
that, which
at
is
least.
why
he has been.
Well, no. Putin is far more calculating.
Right.
He has been historically. You're right. I mean, COVID and the war, I'm sure are
right. Had some sort of impact.
Powerful. Yeah. I mean, So, but it doesn't, the fact that he would suddenly just fall out of the sky.
Right.
After, 60 days after his mutiny, it's something must have changed. Something in the last, week, 2 weeks, whatever time period it was.
Right.
You don't escape from a mutiny and a direct threat to Moscow and Putin, even if it wasn't intentional, even if Prigozhin's whole thing was, I'm coming to save him from his the guys who are influencing him and misleading him like Shoigu and Gerasimov. Even if that was the case, by assaulting Moscow, he did more damage to Putin than any good, Prigozhin thought he was doing. So there's no way that Putin just went, you know what, we're just going to let things go. And, maybe in a month or two, I'll reassess. No, that's not how his brain works. There was a reason why Prigozhin survived for the last 2 months. So for him to fall out of the sky today means that something has changed. And it could have been his visit to Africa if he indeed did go there.
Right.
But no matter what, we'll see. We'll kind of see how this progresses.
TASS is announcing it right now too. TASS has announced that Prigozhin's on.
Exactly
Again,
TASS what is exactly Tass saying?
Tass is saying that he was on the plane that was shot down. That's
that he was
I'll see
actually
if I
on the plane.
Right, hold on. I'll scroll back up
Not that
and
he
see
was
if I
on the
can
flight
find it.
manifest.
Right. That he was listed as a passenger. Because another, by the way, according to OSINT Defender, another plane.
I've only got Tass saying
Russian state media is
was
reporting
included in
Evgeny
the
Prigozhin was among the
list of
passengers. Right.
Was
An
included
investigation
in
of the
the
crash.
list of passengers. That's what I've got on Tass.
Let's see.
Rosaviatsia, the Federal Agency of Air Transport, initiated an investigation of a crash, they're calling it TASS, of the Embraer plane that happened in the Tver region on Wednesday, adding that the name of Yevgeny Prigozhin was included in the list of passengers of the crash flight on the manifest.
So Tass is saying 10 people died in the crash of a private plane in this area. In the plane that crashed in the Tver region, Evgeny Prigozhin was listed among the passengers according to the Federal Air Transport Agency. An investigation of the crash, but that's the same thing. So they're just basically saying he was listed on there, which is, a dodge and a cover, and the dude had like multiple disguises and a bunch of different things, and who gives a shit to some degree.
It's also way too early. I mean, you got to recover the body. You got to identify the body. Look,
everybody's going to want DNA. Putin's going to want an ear.
Oh God. If indeed it was, and look again, if indeed it was, and also that's another point we're discussing is the fact that can we confirm that it was the establishment in Moscow or Putin himself that gave the order? It could have been, who will rid me of this troublesome priest, and somebody takes it upon themselves, or somebody like Shoigu recognizes that
had an opportunity.
This Prigozhin guy is clearly gunning for me.
So
those are all his various disguises.
So a lot of people are going photos of all the passengers on the plane. And this is one of those things, where he allegedly hides and has all these disguises, which, by the way, it's uncanny. I would never be able to tell these men apart.
It also reveals a kind of mindset for the guy.
Yeah, yes.
That he thought he needed these kind of escape aliases.
Oh, of course he needs a bug out plane. You're surrounded by those fuckers, and you don't think you need a bug out plan? You know who's suddenly realizing they need a bug out plan? Rudy fucking Giuliani. Like because like if you look at he's surrendering today, like as we speak. So this is what's fascinating as far as your second in charges go. Because today Rudy Giuliani is turning himself in, surrendering, and having a bail hearing and getting fingerprinted and getting a mugshot, all that shit. On the same day that Prigozhin got shot out of the sky. Russia loves numbers. I guess he outlived his usefulness. Is that what we're doing? It's just the American version, which is, obviously, America's version of internal corruption is a lot more like the Disney version of a real story, the Pixarification of a piece of history, right? This is
except we have a little thing called the rule of law, and
it's great. I appreciate the fact that we do. Yeah,
Rudy is actually, there was an arrest warrant put out. There was process. There was, the whole system went through. Whereas what happened in Russia was they killed a guy.
And that's this is from the crash site. This is live-ish video. This is recently shot, maybe 30 minutes ago.
Ooh,
that's the crash site.
Cockpit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
who the hell filmed this?
Oh, people rolled up on it from the town, apparently. Or they were told where it was going to land and how quickly they needed to get there. That's one of the things. Like, there might be a plane crash. I would say clean your lenses.
And this is a little bit OTT, but if you were a Russian and that plane came down anywhere near you, would you rush over and take video, not knowing who was there, and then the authorities rock up with their AK-47s and go,
say nobody's supposed to see this.
Nobody's exactly. You didn't see anything, right?
Fuck, man. I was just showing. I was just showing the video of the fire in outside of Beijing today, and then the Tianjin explosion and all those kind of stuff. And that's exactly what happened to that footage. It went up on the internet, but they took it down inside China, immediately. And if you reposted it, you could go to fucking jail.
Yeah.
So insane.
Same thing would happen in Russia.
Yeah. So, anyways, so happy Prigozhin Death Day, if indeed that's what it is. I personally have the belief that guys like that tend to, tend to hide, with the Jeffrey Epsteins of the world.
I mean, one way or the other, I'm happy to see the backside of him. I don't relish in anybody's death, but he was a horrible.
He shall not be missed. Is I think really what it is. I'm not going to cry crocodile tears for somebody like that.
No, I'm not going to pretend that I'm heartbroken. The guy was a murderer, and a thug, and
coordinated rape squads.
Yeah, I mean, he was at the head of a whole bunch of really ugly shit.
Yeah.
So the world's a better place with him not in it. But I won't celebrate his death per se.
Mm-hmm.
I find it curious, and I want to know more, and I want to see more, and there's a whole bunch of tingling spider sense stuff going on because it's just weird.
Well, also apparently. On the Wagnerite
stuff happens.
Yeah, apparently on the Wagnerite side of the internet, they are posting things like, even if he is dead, we're still going to do our next March of Justice. So coup part 2 is going to happen. God damn it! Blah blah blah.
Good luck.
Good right. Let's see. Close entourage cannot reach Putin. Media reported. They're saying Radovka's source does not confirm the death of Yevgeny Prigozhin. His fate is unknown. Radovka's source indicates that reports of death of Yevgeny are premature at the moment. Information about his death, as well as the death of it. Yeah, that's what they're saying. It's almost like you can't trust anybody anymore.
I mean, it's look, I am going to wait to pass judgment. I don't know. I mean, certainly it does make one think. But it still brings me back to the primary point, which I have always said about Prigozhin since his mutiny, and actually before, when he was screaming bloody murder from in Bakhmut and attacking everybody, and even to a certain extent Putin, is why is this guy allowed to survive?
Walk away.
Why is he allowed to get away with stuff like this? And that's been going on for a long, long time. And so something must have changed in the last, whatever it is, whatever period of time it was, something had changed, and he was no longer useful to Putin. So, look at that! Isn't that pretty?
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, in the same world, it's Flag Day, right?
Ukrainian Flag Day. People were out in their vyshyvankas today on the streets. It was lovely. We have Independence Day tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
CNN is reporting it now, according to our chat. Yeah.
Right. But again, are they reporting he's confirmed dead, or
no? They're going to report. They're reporting the exact same thing you and I are reporting.
Yeah.
Only
until we have definitive. Somebody's
right.
I mean, the Kremlin, I suppose it's going to have to be.
Right.
It's going to have to be Peskov or something coming out and saying, listed among, I don't know, man.
Right. Yeah.
Very hinky.
Yeah.
Very,
all
very
of it.
Hinky stuff.
According to one version of the story, a terror attack was the cause of the explosion on board the plane of Yevgeny Prigozhin on Baza. Actually, if you just do the play, there was a huge explosion. And the people are showing the plane. And then again, the video of it crashed. Here's the. This
trying
is
to pin it on the Ukrainians.
Yeah. Well, according to the base, the crash plane of Yevgeny Prigozhin flew from Moscow and was headed towards St. Petersburg.
Towards Petersburg.
Yeah. They found 4 dead already.
Taver's like a military air base kind of situation as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But a bunch of
bodies.
They found 4 of the bodies so far. Obviously, if it was, see, these people
burning
fucking
in
rolling
that kind
up.
Of a wreck? I mean, okay.
Yeah.
See, this. I'm sorry, and then again, I don't want to get into speculation, and I don't want to get into the initial conspiracy theories, but you rock up to and the plane's burning like that, and
no, in an area like that with the these are all
rock up. You're just gonna rock up to a crash like that with the plane on fire, and
I am not with the kids in the back seat. No, I am not. I'm going to give it a wide berth.
Said that.
Yep.
And also that it would be. I mean, where did the video? Was it on a Telegram channel or somebody posted it themselves? That's entirely possible. But the fact that video is already out in the in the information infosphere, again, also makes me kind of how convenient that somebody was able to get to the crash site so quickly that it was still. And this isn't even like, okay, so presumably this happened within the last 3-4 hours or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So in 3 or 4 hours,
it's still burning like that.
It's still burning like that, or
well, they had to. Look, it happens all the time in Russia. Sometimes you meant to bring the fire extinguisher and you actually bring the flamethrower. And it's a mistake anybody can make. Happens all the time in Moscow these days. There is a story again, and this draws us back into our regularly scheduled programming about the fact that the Moscow drone bombings. The U.S. has officially said we don't support them. We don't think that's a good idea per se.
No.
And
but don't you know Ukraine is a puppet state?
Oh, yes.
It does whatever the Pentagon tells it to do.
That's right. Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny because to hear that it does put paid to the idea that Kiev is just this is just swapping colonial masters from Moscow to either Brussels or Washington. These are people who obviously don't know Ukrainians. Because I've heard there was a article I saw today. I'm forgetting which source it was. It might have been Washington Post, which of course I take with a huge grain of salt.
Right.
No, I don't take it with a grain of salt. It's just they like to talk to people who are skeptics about Ukraine. And apparently there was this article of them there's a faction within the Pentagon that's now saying, oh, the Ukrainians are distributing their troops all wrong, and we know how to do it, and they're doing it wrong. And it's like, motherfucker, these people are better at this than you are.
Yeah, right.
Okay, America goes to war, and it has the largest arsenal on the world on the world stage. It can throw a whole bunch of toys at any enemy that it has on the globe. Ukraine has to make do with what it's got, and it's still kicking Russia's ass.
Yeah.
So don't, this there's this faction in the Pentagon that's sitting there going, boy, you guys aren't doing it right. The Ukrainians are like, go fuck yourselves. We're doing just fine. We're nobody says we're doing just fine, but we know what the fuck we're doing.
Right.
We kind of have been at this for a while now, so I find the criticisms and those kind of armchair generals, even if they do
back over
generals.
on Shitter, it is the top trend across all fronts. Prigozhin. I don't know why Secret Service. I think the Secret Service has to do with the Oathkeeper guy. Yeah, that's what that was. So Prigozhin. What is this size? Which size shoe he had? There we go. Hashtag Putin. Oh, and Rudy's probably, let's see, he might be actually walking in right now. So fun. Yeah, it's so embarrassing. This is when he left this morning to go there. I'm defending the rights of all Americans. To do what? Show your dick to a 15-year-old? Get the fuck out of here. To move after the first bombing of the World Trade Center, I'm defending the right of all Americans to move your emergency response to the target of the next hit. he's put his apartment on the market, by the way.
Yep,
And
I heard.
you know, obviously, you know, after it's fumigated, they might even be able to do some virtual showings.
Do not take a black light into that place.
Oh God.
No.
Ew.
Come here, big tits.
Right, exactly. So gross. So
I
yeah.
bought the place, and every night, just as I'm drifting off to sleep, I could swear, but I hear somebody whispering in my ear.
Big tits.
Come over
right.
here, big tits.
All right, come here. Those are
It
my
echoes
tits.
down the halls.
Oh God, the ghost of Giuliani haunts
the ghost of Rudy Past.
Oh God. So Prigozhin's so popular right now, he's trending twice. Literally, they've got a great system over at Shitter, you know, with both. Literally, everything's working great. Their algorithms all the bugs are worked out. I don't know what you're worried about. And the Tucker thing with Trump is going to air on Twitter. It's going to be magic. It's just going to be terrific. But yeah.
Well, I saw his thing. I saw his thing with. God, I don't even know if I should mention it because I don't want to give it oxygen. But he sat down with a particularly vile pro-Russia, pro-Kremlin useful idiot, and just for an hour sat there talking absolute bullshit about the war.
Right.
Absolute nonsense about the war. It's like, oh, the Ukrainians can't win. The Ukrainians are losing. And meanwhile, there are drones blowing up in Moscow. There's chaos in the power elite in Russia. And Ukraine is making strong but incremental advances towards the sea.
Right.
You know,
I don't know
how these guys.
Right. I also don't know what you're talking about because the ruble is doing just fine. That's why the Moscow Times is on the street talking to people.
And on the diplomatic front, you know, it's so funny that all the family photos, the so-called family photos that you have at these kind of events, these summits, you know, everybody's a head of state except for Lavrov. I wonder why that is.
You're right, because Putin can't leave the fucking country without getting arrested. and I, you know, it's interesting. Let's see. This is what a great. This is such a great way to. I love it when they frame the argument in such a way that they don't want to admit that I was right all along, but they kind of have to go, oh, yeah, I kind of fucked up. This would be, hold on. This would be, wait, news and this kind of thing. Here you go. Transition. There we go. The de-dollarization drive is facing a confidence crisis as the yuan, ruble, and Argentine peso simultaneously plummet. Look. When three currencies a part of your BRICS magic sauce all plummet at the same time, that'll give anybody a crisis, a confidence crisis. They just need a little blue pill and a walk around the block. Global de-dollarization efforts face a credibility challenge as currencies of the nations leading the movement take a beating. Slumps in the ruble, yuan, and Argentine peso underscore how the U.S. dollar is more reliable currency, an expert told Insider. Really? What was it? The anti-dollar drive picked up momentum following Russia's war with Ukraine as sanctions make foreign trade harder. To wit, I would say, fuck them. But I just found that glorious. So the ruble's been eating shit. The yuan, and then. I'll see if I can find this because it's pretty spectacular. At the BRICS thing, you know, Vladimir Putin can't give a speech there because he can't show up. Because if he shows up in South Africa, they're still signatory to the International Criminal Court. They'd have to arrest him. So he did it by video. But Xi Jinping took one of his second trip of this year outside of China. The first one was to Russia. The second one was to this one. And that's how desperate he is because this motherfucker doesn't want to go anywhere. There were all the major countries were supposed to give a speech. And let's see. Yeah, where is it? There we go. Yeah. I fucking love this. Hold on. This was just so good. Imagine, if you will, my dear friend Philip, if Joe Biden pulled this at a summit, what they would be saying across the entire scope of this thing. Xi Jinping unexpectedly pulls out a BRICS summit speech in extraordinary move. The Chinese leader was flown out to South Africa for the summit, but asked his commerce minister to read out his remarks. He left. He was supposed to give his big speech, and
you don't do
that. No, you don't. Especially when you're the lead.
I have been going to these kinds of things, Hal.
Yeah.
For 25 years. These kind of summits and conferences and yada, yada, yada. Unless you are having, traumatic diarrhea and, vomiting,
even then, just have your Secret Service hook a hose up to your ass and get out there and talk.
Some doctor comes in and pumps you up with something for, 15,
some of the Elvis pills.
Go out. To short of something like that, to cancel. No, that's freaking huge, man. You don't do that at conferences like this.
No.
I've been to,
and you don't do it last minute.
Damn near 100 of these over 25 years. I would bet you I'm somewhere between 70 to 100 of these damn things I've been to in my life. And a head of state, I can't think of a time when a head of state has pulled something like that.
Yeah, and he's the lead point. He's
the big boy.
Yes,
he's the headliner.
He's the one who's supposed to anchor this magic currency they're going to do, and he wants it pegged to the yuan. Yeah, and it certainly fucking isn't, which is just glorious.
Wow.
The Chinese leader was in Johannesburg for the business forum, but asked his commerce minister, Wen Wang, to deliver the remarks instead.
And it was his finance minister. Was he traveling with his foreign minister? Was his foreign minister not there?
I don't think so. He swapped out he's got to replace.
Protocol would dictate foreign minister next.
Right. Well, they swapped out the foreign minister. Remember, that guy lost his job and then they put it back.
Oh, that's right. Yes, but don't they have somebody?
He was gone. The other guy was gone for a month and a half and died.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody's seat warming. They don't even have a placeholder.
No, they do. They do.
What I'm saying is that by protocol,
right? That would be the guy.
People don't recognize that there is a very, sometimes strictly formal, sometimes informal, but there is protocol. And protocol would dictate that it would be the foreign minister that should deliver that speech if the head of state can't do it. If the foreign minister was not on that trip, I want to know what I'm getting at is when Xi said, "I ain't going to do that. I'm leaving." How many people did they go down the rung to finally get?
I don't know. No, after you, right?
Yeah, after you.
After you.
Hot potato.
Right.
I mean, finance minister makes sense because it's a BRICS, but I'm not. I'm just stunned because that is so.
This is my favorite sentence of this whole article. I have to show you. This is my favorite sentence of the whole article. Mr. Xi had met with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on Tuesday before he pulled out of delivering his speech. It's basically like, that didn't go well. Never mind. All right. Fuck it. Bye. And then this is.
I just want to sit down for a brief second here. This is a whole bunch of horse shit, right? We agree. This whole project is failing apart.
This never going anywhere, right?
Right,
okay, cool.
I'm out.
Yeah. Good,
so we're
good talk.
Make sure we're on the same page. All right.
Right.
Don't call me. I'll call you.
Okay. Here's what it says. And Wang Wenbing, is it? Yeah. He said some country. He's talking. He goes, and this is the speech too.
Oh.
And he goes, he's reading his speech. This is what she was supposed to say. Some country, I don't know who, some country, obsessed with maintaining its hegemony, has gone out of its way to cripple the emerging markets and developing countries. Whoever is developing fast becomes its target of containment. Whoever is catching up becomes its target of obstructions. First of all, fucko, no it doesn't. We help countries all the time because we're more interested in them having a functioning economy that we can make deals with than having to deal with them militarily across the board. If you don't believe us, ask fucking India, the people who are eating China's lunch right now. But they might be a little busy because they just landed something on the moon. The other thing your buddy couldn't do. God damn, that's funny. And here's that picture you were talking about with Lavrov over here.
Yeah.
The one non-head of state.
Things is not like the other.
The other,
one of
right?
These things is.
Yeah, Lula, Xi,
Oh my
Ramaphosa, and
God.
Modi, and then.
Wow. I would even. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's not a good look for BRICS.
No, dude, it was terrible.
Not,
and everybody was like,
that is a bad.
And that happened right as this rumor about the PLA sub sinking in like in the Taiwanese Strait. And so the fear is that like everybody was like thinking, oh, it was so bad, something happened, there was some escalation, or they did one of these games of chicken and we sank one of their things just by running into it or some shit, or it just ran aground and he bugged off to talk about it. He would have left that up to somebody else and pretended it never happened. So I don't necessarily buy that.
And also you don't just leave, when you are in a situation like that and you're the head of state and one of the big, I mean, like your speech is anticipated, to just go, I don't want to do it and leave. Normally they would have to think up something like a major crisis or even a personal or a health crisis would be preferable to just, I don't want to. Because the messaging that sends is, it's not important to me. This doesn't matter to me. So the whole BRICS project then is like, well, if the guy who's one of the big members of BRICS
doesn't want to talk,
I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered to do this, and I'm going home.
I think it's because of this. This is a day ago.
The public reasoning would be better than just simply, I don't want
to. Wall Street sees no end to yuan losses despite Beijing pushback. Intervention could slow, but won't alter the depreciation trend. 750 is in play, meaning 7.5 yuan to the dollar in play if yuan weakens past last October trough. It's going to. They artificially pumped it up for a couple of weeks and then it just fell apart. After the offshore yuan weakened last week to 7.30, $7 yuan 30. Just a stone's throw from last year's all-time low. People's Bank of China pushed back with verbal warnings, urging dollar sales, following up with the biggest daily reference rate bias on record, which is that 2%. They can move their currency 2% just by whim anytime they fucking want, which is why it will never be a peg. Whoops, did we freeze for a second? Uh-oh. Did something happen?
Uh-oh.
Did China attack us? Is that what happened? Yeah, reload your page, guys, if something happened. We're clearly the deep state is after me.
There you go.
This is I love when these when they I'll show you these kind of charts. I just fucking love, because up means down. This is how many yuan you get for $1. So you want it to be going the other way if you want to be the import-export king, right? Thank you so much, guys. And like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Philip Bittner, follow him on YouTube, all that kind of stuff. We're over the 11 o'clock mark anyways, but I just love this. So the big thing is that the yuan, and I think, let's see where you get this. The yuan, when I was just looking at it, it's just slightly better than the ruble. They're almost in line now. And I think that's what we're ultimately seeing, is that all this BRICS shit is making investors the world over go, I don't like either of these fucking places. One's corrupt beyond measure, and the other one is corrupt and broke and dangerous and murderous. Which one's which? Does it really matter? So, no euro to BRICS. The euro is its own currency based on this. This is what inspired the BRICS to think they could make something because of the success of the euro. The difference is that all the European countries share a common idea of how you balance what your currency is actually worth. It's just fucking crazy. So anyways, here you go. There you go. China's U.S. bond yield gap implies a much weaker currency. There it is. Spread now lowest since mid-2006, when the yuan was near $8 a dollar, 8 yuan a dollar. Look at this. We're in the money. We're in the. Even 2020, they were on a rise because they were picking up everybody else's slack, and they had all this PPE and shit like that, and they could ship it and sell it. and they were already in position to do that. God damn. And so when you look at, oh God, official fixing increasingly stronger than consensus is, yeah, everybody's bailing out. Everybody's getting the fuck out. And the same thing is true of the ruble. Like the ruble is tanking. The rupee's not doing half bad. The irony is that the rupee, the Indian currency, for the first time is better against the ruble than it ever has been. It crossed 100-point mark itself, the other direction. Yeah.
I remember seeing that about a week ago when it was the ruble sank to a penny to the ruble.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that thing about how actually it also was great for the rupee because the rupee was having its best response to the ruble ever. So
so this is from a normally friendly site to the to Russia. This is oilprice.com. Ruble plunge sends waves across Central Asia's economies. And mainly it's Kazakhstan and other countries that are more pegged to the ruble. In that case, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan heavily rely on remittances from migrants working in Russia, making them vulnerable to the ruble's fluctuation. So that it's effectively like what a bad dollar would do to Mexican workers who come up here or day laborers, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. They don't have as much to send home because it's not worth as much. And that has a carry-on effect in a massive way. The ruble's fall has been accelerated by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the resulting economic conditions. We know this, but I thought the sanctions weren't working. Didn't we hear that from the Hinkles of the world? Operation Hinkle Finkel. Yeah, between depreciation and the devil. The Russian currency's month-long decline, stretching back to the end of last year, is partly due to government spending on the war in Ukraine, where Russian forces have been slow to retreat, been in a slow retreat since the full-scale invasion. What makes this particular depreciation so notable, however, is that it comes at a time of robust prices for oil, which have traditionally helped the currency bounce back. But because they're kicked out of the normal market and they can't play in the big kid pond because they're murderous fuckheads, they're selling it on the cheap, and they're selling it to India for very little, and we in a tip of the hat to India and letting them helping them out a little bit, which is why Jimmy Dore's fill-in was bitching on behalf of Pakistan yesterday, because we now hate India, right? Because the hyper left now hates India because they're buying cheap Russian oil and then they're processing it and selling it to Europe, the processed gas, and the U.S. is saying, yeah, that's fine with us. As a matter of fact, that's a great way to undermine their entire oil and gas industry. Yeah. But anyways, we're well over time, and I want to remind everybody, follow Philip Ittner. He's Ittner Philip on Shitter right now. And then, are you on Threads yet?
I'm having trouble with my Instagram.
All right.
Account. So
as you do, it happens. It happens. Too many of your pictures violate the rule against nudes.
No, it's still a fallout from my hacking.
Oh yeah, right, sure. That makes sense. Well, at the very least, follow him at Ittner Philip. 2 T's, 1 L, 1 L in Philip.
And then the other way around, Philip Ittner at YouTube. And hopefully other venues
very soon. Yes. And then after I hang up, feel like zooming.
Could do. Sure. Yeah, sure.
Because we didn't get a chance to yesterday. So excellent. Well, I will. So I'm going to sign off, guys. Appreciate it. Hang in there. Actually, Phil, you could probably just stay on the line, and then I'll sign us all out, and we can just do it this way, because that's the easiest way. I'll send everybody on their way. Okay. Cool. And then we'll transfer over. There we go. And then, folks, I will see you this afternoon. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Okay, blah, late. Okay, bye. Yeah.
There you go.
And then, hold on one second.